Hi guys, it is now quite over 1.5 years ago since I own this very car, and after my last event where I took the car for 6 hours through very heavy rain, I think it is now time to summarize the experience with it so far. So even though the engine has been rebuilt and I almost touched every single part from the suspension, this still remains an old car, and this is very important. Things will keep breaking. In one of my recent videos, I was showing that I redid the entire pipes from the heating system, but I still came across a problem with the heater when I drove the car to the event. Because on my way back, this pipe in my footwell was getting so hot that even though the AC now is finally working, the AC was not able to cool the air down as much as I wanted to. So I found out that this heats up because the flap that is located somewhere in the rear wheel well is again being blocked. And this is something I want to address with those parts that I have to thank Johannes again for scouting them for me. They were pretty cheap. I paid 150 euros with transport, and I think they look absolutely mint and they work perfectly. Of course, I ordered two because even though I don't have the problem on the passenger side, I still want this to be done once and for all. I just removed the engine cover and I put the car on the lift, took my other car out so I could work comfortably on this one. And so yeah, I am about to remove one of those flaps. It is this bad boy right here. I just removed the orange hose there, and now I'm going to try to remove this without having to take off any of the other parts you see right here. Wow, this was a pain indeed to get this out of there, because it is very hard to reach the screws or the nut, but I got it out. For the passenger side one, it is still working perfectly fine, as you can see here, and you can also see that I already modified it, so I took it out, and here you can see that I glued the flap together with the pivot point, and again, it is working just fine. And this is the second one, and here you can clearly see that the flap is no longer attached. Depending on how the flap is blocked because of the vibrations and the up and down movements of the car, this can be in a position where it sends the air into the cabin. This is what's making the AC having to work harder. This is going to come out, and I will compare both side to side. The next thing I want to show you is that I'm pretty much confirmed with my character of not trusting people with my cars. I want to do things myself because when there is an issue, I know who to blame. In this case, I came across a pretty strange situation in which I had my first oil change done, and they measured the, I don't know how to call them, and obviously they had to change the oil filter too. I didn't check on the engine after this because this was the guy who rebuilt the entire engine, so I had 100% trust in him. But when I then took the car to get the AC refilled, I collected the car, and then I found a strange noise on the front of the car, but more about this later on. So I checked on the rear of the car, and then I suddenly found out, hey, where is my second adapter? There is a blue one, which is for low pressure, and there is also supposed to be a red one, but this one is gone. The strange thing is that you can see like scratches on the oil filter, and that was the moment I thought that probably the engine builder had it removed or couldn't fit the oil filter with the adapter in place. I asked him kindly if he knew anything about it, but if you have to ask someone, did you remove something on my car, it starts to get a little strange. Anyways, he was 100% sure that he did not touch anything on the AC because it is possible to remove the filter without touching those. Okay, he's a specialist, I'm not going to blame him. So I went to the other guys who did my AC refill and confronted them with the same problem. I told them, where is the second adapter? And immediately he told me, no, this adapter was never there, because it would have made it much easier for me to fill the AC. And up until that point I was still not too sure about what he was telling me, but then he started to show me some sort of valve inside the compressor which had to be removed in order for him to fill the AC with the fluid. So as you can see here, there is a mark on the blue adapter, and this is a mark he put on because he had to remove the part and then reinstall the adapter. And this is where things are much clearer. So I trust this guy more than my engine builder. I think it's pretty harsh to say that, but I mean, it's a fact. I didn't touch this. I only gave the car to 2 garages. I mean, this is not something that just falls off. And then when I collected the car from that one guy who refilled my AC, I had a very strange noise coming from the front right corner of the AC heater box. I immediately knew what it was because I knew that very disgusting sound. And the problem was that the fan inside of the box had fallen out and was turning inside of the plastic housing, touching it and rubbing plastic off of the housing. So I immediately stopped the car, removed the connector, but that meant I had to take it all out again, refit the fan to make things work again. This is why I don't trust anyone working on my cars, because he was running the AC to test it with that noise on for about 10 minutes. So I showed him what the price of one of those fans was, and he was not even impressed to know that one fan would cost around 400 euros to replace. What do? I mean, I am not able to fill an AC. Then one more thing. I am going back and forth on this problem, but it keeps coming back and then is gone for some time and then coming back again. I'm talking about the problem of the engine cutting down at a red light, or even when driving on the off-ramp of the motorway. So when I change gear from like third to second and I keep my foot on the clutch, then the engine just shuts down. And I don't know why. At first I found that one of the vacuum hoses was not connected to the air filter housing. When I refitted it, the problem was gone for some time. But now for some reason it is back and I don't know why. I didn't touch on anything, so I still have to check whether every vacuum hose is still in place or what is causing the problem of the car shutting down. I looked at all of the vacuum lines and I found another one that is not connected. This one, it's not. For now I have plugged it in order to find where the other connection is. Then I spoke to my buddy from Australia if he could give me a hand on this and maybe tell me which lines are supposed to go. We quickly found out that this one is not supposed to be there. In the drawings, this hose goes through and is connected to this. And I guess that while they rebuilt the engine, they were missing a connection. So they cut this hose, put a junction in and just connected this tube on there because they thought, well, vacuum line is a vacuum line. But this one here was turned the other way around and was hidden behind this rubber hose. So I assume that they didn't know about this one and they were stuck with one too many connections. I will do this right now and then keep you updated. So I think I was absolutely right. So this is the part that I removed, and this doesn't look like an OEM part. Even if you look at the angle at which the hose has been cut, I mean, this is not a straight cut. So anyways, I now replaced all of the pipes and they are now correctly connected. So this is now how it is supposed to be. I will now test it, take it for a ride, but I think this might have solved the problem, or at least one of them. It is very probable that this was not a fault of the engine builder. This might sound like I'm complaining a lot about him these last episodes, but I mean, who else am I to blame? I only gave the car to him and the company that refilled my AC, and now I don't trust anyone anymore with my cars. Luckily, the car and especially the Porsche community is brilliant, and everyone wants to help you, sends you photos of their car, and that is what's making it acceptable. But to having to go through these type of things day in, day out is just an absolute struggle, an absolute pain. Filling up the car with fuel is absolutely driving me mad, because as soon as I put the nozzle inside of the neck of the fuel tank and start pumping fuel in it, it just stops after some time because of some security mechanism preventing fuel from overflowing the tank. I don't know why. The tank is nowhere near full, and even turning it to the side is not having a positive effect on it. So please help. There are a few more things to talk about in the inside, so let's just get in and show you what I mean. The first problem I have is those flimsy indicators or levers, whatever you want to call them. They are so thin at the end that you think you might break them at any moment. So this is something I don't really like about the car. It gets worse if you have the optional cruise control. So this lever is even thinner and it doesn't give you any feedback. There's like no force, no feedback, no clicking, no nothing. So it's very difficult. In stark contrast to those being very flimsy, these are massive, very rugged and robust, so you will never be able to break those. Then there's another thing that I think is my own fault, and it is regarding the AC unit, because now you can see it because I'm pointing the camera between the steering wheel and my phone holder from Renline, which I absolutely love. It is very sturdy, very stable, and I absolutely love it. But if you want to see whether the fans are at full speed or low speed, or, I mean, this is very confusing either way. If you want to check on which position your levers are, or even the temperature, which now is beneath my iPhones. When I'm sitting here, this is pretty much my viewing angle, and you are not able to see anything. You have to glimpse over it, or past it, or under it. And I can pretty much assure you that if you have to do this while driving, it is difficult. Another thing about the car is the looks. I mean, this car looks so good. I think I found the perfect ride height, the perfect tire, and even though I was complaining about the rear having too much camber, I think it is now just about perfect. The only angle I'm not too keen about is this one, because you see, the front looks so narrow that it's losing all of its presence all of a sudden. But if you then move over to the side and then see it from this angle, it is completely changed again, and the rear is just so sticking out that there's nothing to complain about the rear, really. Only the front. It looks like, you know, those VW Box that have narrow chassis where the wheel is standing way too far in. Again, I absolutely love the car. The only thing that I still have to do is finally repaint this front bumper, because every time I attempt a meeting of some sort or get to talk to other people, they always ask me, what have you done to your front bumper? I mean, this looks like some sort of Swiss cheese. But again, this is also complaining on a very high level. I absolutely love it. I love this car. This is my stress relief, even though sometimes it is causing some of the stress, but then giving you the possibility to drive it and enjoy it in this kind of weather is just what makes it